Yeah. All right. Welcome to Gab and Jam, episode 193.
All right. What's up? What we talking about today?
Okay, so today we asked you guys, we went to several songwriting groups and asked what is the best music-related advice you've ever gotten. So this is all about you guys.
All right, that you've ever received.
That you've ever received.
Yes.
Okay. Piece of advice is from Latrissa Thomas. And she says, with learning the skill of producing, mixing, and mastering, take one area at a time and master it. So her examples were mixing vocals, compression, etc.
That's good. That's a really good one. That is really a good one.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot to that. So, and a lot to unpack there.
I was about to say it so it makes it not as overwhelming. That would be my piggyback on that. Yeah.
And to kind of piggyback on that, I know that one of the best way to kind of make that kind of stuff set out is that low-pass filters and high-pass filters are your best friends. Like on vocals, get rid of all that stuff that's on the low end that you don't need.
Okay.
You know, get all that crap out the way. When it comes to your bass and that kind of stuff, get rid of all those high frequencies you don't need.
Okay.
Because really mixing is about stuff finding the proper frequencies that it wants to lay in. That makes the mix a whole lot better.
I like it.
Yeah.
Woo. All right, so we're going to our second piece of best music-related advice you've ever received. Nigel Watson says, double down on your strengths and don't try to be good at everything, which sounds like it piggybacks nicely off of the last piece of advice.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing too, is that you cannot be great at everything.
Well, not all at once.
No, what I'm trying to say is just honestly. I mean, you might not be a great singer. You might not be the greatest musician. So what you do is you kind of jump down on the things that you're good at. You know, you're a good singer-songwriter. You're good at presenting your songs.
Yeah.
You can do that. You don't have to be the greatest singer.
No.
You don't have to be the greatest musician in order to make things work for you.
That's true.
So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is that and to beat yourself up over not being able to be this virtuoso guitar player or this virtuoso singer.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
I like that differently.
Is think about the things that you're good at, and you go at that, so meaning that, hey, I'm good at writing these types of folk songs, or I'm good at doing this, or I'm good at doing that, and that's what you focus on.
It's different because we saw it differently. I saw it as, again, they're different seasons, and so while you're working on this, which kind of piggybacks to me on the other one, focus on that until you get better at that before you move on to something else.
Right.
But as DIY rock stars, we have to wear so many hats that. And I'm not saying beat yourself up if you can't do it well, but you might have to try other things. You might
have to try other things, but that's not to say that you're going to be good at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You might not.
So you might not be great at marketing, but you don't have to be great at marketing.
Right.
You just have to be good enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's another aspect to it too.
Is that better than you were yesterday?
Right. You know what I mean? You don't have to be this outstanding driver in order to get from point A to point
That's
B,
true. Okay.
As much as you just need to be a driver that doesn't get in accidents. Just don't wreck your car. You know what I mean? So again, you don't have to be
I like that.
Mario Andretti in order to do that, And then at the same token, you can focus on the things that you really are good at.
Yeah.
So you can look at things that helps to bring that out. Like sometimes you trying to be like the greatest vocalist in the world is not what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
But there might be certain things that you do that are unique to you.
Yeah.
And so kind of emphasizing your own little vocal tics that you have and your own little vocal habits that you have. Those are the types of things that become a signature for you.
Yeah.
So, and you can get good or great at that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And which, again, that's about perfecting you.
Yeah.
So
I like that. All right. And a third piece of advice is from Sherelle Cary Smith. She says the best advice she's ever received concerning music was how to sing it. Her choir director and mentor, Harriet Heath, always pushed her to her limit vocally. She said when it came to high note, she said always think about the note before you sing it. She said she still does that to this day.
That's good. That's awesome. I mean, it's always good to kind of have teachers who can help you with that kind of stuff, you know. I mean, because if you're a guitar player, you probably always fall back on your pentatonic, you know, box shapes, you know. So, I mean, you always kind of fall back on those pentatonic scales, you know, and it's like, I think I was falling back on them before I even knew what they were. So, I mean, but again, that's the kind of stuff that's very, very helpful.
Foundational.
So, yeah, it is.
All right, I love it. All right, so fourth piece of advice is from Gary Andrews. And he says, not knowing the rules leaves you free to explore, to discover. So I think he's saying, I know the piece that came before it was, before you learn the rules, you actually have more room to make something new.
Right.
Because once you know the rules, you kind of feel like you have to follow them even unconsciously. So
sometimes it's like, it's one of those type of things where it could be a catch-22. Like, kind of going on. Like, I think it's great to know the rules. Just simply because of the fact you understand what you're doing and probably how to embellish your songs, you know. So it's good to understand like key signatures, what notes go in the key, you know, what chords go in your key. I mean, it could enrich what you can do harmonically, you know, and things like that. However, at the same token, what you don't want to get is say, oh, wow, you know, you're always supposed to do, you know, this type of progression because you know that these are the standard progressions that you have. And so you kind of have to be willing to break free of that.
Same thing with genre, I would say, to make sure that, you know, because genres usually have, like we were talking about before, oh, well, where is the so-and-so in this particular one? And it's like, if you want to kind of expand it a little bit, maybe you would take out something that is expected for that genre and add in something else.
Yeah, that's true.
We talk about that with horns for funk. But that's how Prince did it. It put the keyboards in instead of the horn. And that is what gave him his sound, and then it expanded you know, the range of funk. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, using drum machines in funk and all the rest of this kind of stuff, all of that stuff helps to enhance, you know, or it might be breaking the rules of things that you're not that you're supposed to do with that particular genre. But that is the way you kind of push it, you know, to its edges. So and expand it. So
all right. Our next piece of advice is from Susie Schwartz. She said, back in the day, I played keys with a more senior piano player, and she said, if you're going to play the note, play the note, as in commit. This gave me immense confidence and helped me embrace mistakes as I develop. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and Victor Wooten's got a great thing on that too, as far as, you know, if you are playing the wrong note, if you just kind of groove it, if it's grooving, that, you know, people won't notice it. When they do notice it is when you're insecure about it. When you start, you know, you know, you start fumbling around, that kind of stuff. That's when people notice it. But if you're kind of grooving along with it and you do it in a way that is like, you know, like she said, it was with confidence, then you'll find that, you know, the wrong note isn't the wrong note. You know, then all of a sudden the wrong note becomes a style. Right?
You know? I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, our next piece of advice comes from Faith McLean, or Faith Amber, as she is known. Honestly, the best music advice I ever heard is there's a seat for everyone at the table, music industry. You just need to do the work to eat. Something I recently learned and has given me the drive to push through any and all obstacles. So we really believe that. There's a seat at the table for everybody. It may not be, again, with the major labels, it may be, but that there's always places where your music can find its audience, and that's true. Really
that's true. That's great advice, because you know, a lot of times you know, people waste time, you know, hating on one another and all the rest of that kind of stuff, and it's like really there's room for everybody. Playlist
is not just made of one person. That's just an album. Okay, our next piece of advice is from another good Facebook friend. He says, don't quit your day job, was the advice he got. He said, pissed him off 40 plus years ago, yet in retrospect, it was sage advice.
It is, you know, and this is where you have to start thinking about, you know, quantitatively, what do you think success in music means? You know, I mean, so if only thing that you think makes you a successful musician is whether or not you're doing music full time or not, then, you know, I don't know. At least for me, I feel like that's kind of a myopic view about what success in music is, because, you know, sometimes you could be doing music full time, but you could be doing music that feels like a job.
Yeah, we were talking about that with the Nashville musicians.
Yeah. You know, so you could have that situation. Or you could be out, you know, doing original stuff, but it never really speaks to you.
Yeah.
You know, the great thing about having your day job is that you always have your own patron. And that patron is you.
Yes.
You know, and so, you know, you can't do it as often as somebody who's doing it full time. However, you have one thing that a lot of people who are doing it full time don't have, and that's freedom.
Yeah.
You have pure, unadulterated,
yes.
artistic freedom to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so in that sense, that's the freedom that working the day job gives you.
Yeah. So. And I've stopped resenting it in recent years and started embracing it. So thank you, Joe Probst, for that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going back to a piece of advice that kind of was your cornerstone, which was are you a Crisco can or oil well?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So that was a long time ago. You know, me and Eddie Floyd, we went to this attorney, and we came with our demo tape, and you know, we were concerned about the music being stolen.
Oh, right.
You know, and he was like, well, you know, let me ask you, are you an oil well or a Crisco can? And I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, you know, if you're a Crisco can, then basically, you know, once you kind of scrape the bottom of the can, you don't have anything left. So, if this is the bottom of the can, you don't have nothing left, then you need to protect it and make sure that, you know, nobody runs off with it. If you're an oil well, then there's plenty.
Yes.
From where that came. So if that's the case, then what are you concerned about?
And spent the rest of these last 40 years being an oil well.
And that, for me, as soon as he said
that was the foundation
I was able
of your
to
philosophy.
Release and let those songs go.
Yes.
And it was like, at that point in time, it was like, yep, okay.
I decided where I stand on that.
That this is what I can do. I can write another one.
Yeah.
You know, that there's always another song that's waiting to be written.
Yeah.
And so that was huge for me.
Okay, that's very good, because again, that's foundational for us.
Yeah.
And another foundational piece is my piece of best music advice. And I think it took a few years to take root, but it was that Renally advice long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what our question was to her. I just remember walking away saying, she can't be telling me the truth, that we have to do it. I don't even remember what her exact words were.
Yeah, I think it was just about, hey, you know, what if the music industry doesn't quite understand what you're doing? They want to allow you to do certain things, you know. And I think at that point in time, like the Black Rock Coalitions was starting up. And so, you know, there was this thing about, you know, black artists doing rock music and how the music industry was treating them. And, you know, the whole thing was sort of like, well, you know, then you just need to go out there and you make the noise yourself. And, you know, you just prove them wrong. Yeah. I mean, that was basically, you know, and everything she would just respond back by saying that.
The same thing, right. And at that time, it just seemed so... it seemed so callous and flippant and all that, but I think it kind of took root, you know, so that years later, when it came to whether we wanted to publish the zine, you know, the poetry, the this, the that, the other, whenever doors start being slammed, it started being like, you know what, if we make our own, we don't have to worry about that. And I think that has kind of been, now that is the complete foundation, but I think the seeds took root, but it took 20 years. For the tree to bloom, but I think that to me is the best advice I've ever received.
Yeah, I agree.
And that set us on a path. All right, what do you guys think? What is the best music advice you've ever received? We'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments below. What else?
And of course, you know, SugarFit, it is available everywhere where you stream music. So, you know, I don't even have to list them all off to you.
No, your favorite music streaming service has SugarFit.
Yeah, it does. So you can just stream it anywhere. If you want the CD, you can reach out to us. You can go to Bandcamp. You can go to CD Baby. If you're interested in vinyl, Patreon. Link below. And so swag, whatever that you might want, you know, it's going to be in the links below.
Yeah. And if you dig the vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, be sure to
subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
chicken grease.
Yeah.